Hello and welcome to Complete with DLC, episode 50! I'm one of your hosts, Jacob Griffin, and sitting across from me is the Big 5-0, Brad Knight. Brad, how you doing?
Not bad. That startled me a little bit. I didn't think it was going to be that loud, but yeah, I'm good. I'm ready for the
What was it, the horn or
yeah.
me going 50?
Oh, both, actually. The horn, when you had done it in off air, was quieter. It was much louder this time.
It's because it was on the side of me and I actually actively picked it up and put it near the microphone.
Oh, yeah, it was loud. I'll have to lower that in post.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine, but I'm excited, Jacob. It's our 50th episode.
Yeah, I mean, who would have ever thought that we'd make it this far?
Nah, not me.
Definitely not me.
Well, it's good to see we have confidence in ourselves. That's all that matters, really.
Yeah, how have you been in the 2 days since we had that awful recording?
I've been constantly aggravated by a number of things in both the video game and anime scene, so it's been a non-stop rant for me between my brother and I.
Is it the brother that I like?
It is.
Well, then I'm on his side.
Okay.
I actively agree with him, whatever he's saying.
I will let him know that he has one more supporter.
It's gonna be start the Civil War and complete with DLC.
That's what it's gonna be. He's gonna be the catalyst.
Exactly. He's gonna be the Bucky.
Yep, that's gonna be it. But what have you been up to, Jacob? Anything fun?
Nothing. I got out of work early yesterday. That was pretty fun.
Ooh.
I get to come home and play video games.
Because really, that's really all life is about, is you work to play more video games.
Exactly. I finally figured out what PC I'm gonna get. I'm probably gonna get it next week.
Nice.
It's exciting. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, you can finally join the wonderful world of PC gaming when you spend an absurd amount on your PC and pennies on your games.
It's gonna be like $633 for my PC.
It's not bad at all. You can get a really good PC for that.
Yeah. The PC I'm getting is, like, it's not going to be anything that's, like, going to, do VR or anything like that, but I got it from, like, one of those YouTube build videos because I don't know how to do this stuff myself.
Yeah.
And so, the benchmarks that he had in the video were pretty good. They all aligned with what I wanted. GTA 5 runs really well on very high, so.
Yeah, that's my tip to anybody who's thinking about building the PC. Look at YouTube builds. Try to stay to the more recent build videos, because the more outdated a build is, the less relevant it is.
Yeah.
And go to the Build a PC subreddit. Those guys are incredibly helpful, and if you just provide them a list of parts, like, hey, listen, I'm thinking about making this PC, they will rip it apart and build you a new one if there's anything wrong with it. So,
right.
Incredibly helpful guys over there.
Yeah, so, the video that I looked at was, like, from, like, 3 months ago, so.
Yeah, that's
still
fine.
Pretty relevant. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. I just gotta wait because this is supposed to be my graduation present from high school, and I graduated from high school like a year ago. So
yeah, you're out of your first year of college.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to get the money from my mother for my graduation present, and then I'm throwing in the rest of the money, which is mainly just shipping and what's the word? Taxes from Amazon.
Yeah, because they like to do the whole taxi business.
Yeah, why can't you just be like Newegg Amazon and not have taxes?
Newegg is great, but I don't particularly like the 17 newsletters they send you every time you buy something from them.
Seriously, like when because I was originally gonna buy this same PC like a month ago, and my mom's like debit card has like a weird limit thing on it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't let you go above $500. It's something that she got from work. It's like her work bank thing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it has that weird limit on it, but they sent me like 45 emails after that, right? They sent me the one that was the confirmation, then they sent me the one that was the deconfirmation, then they sent me, hey, since you looked at this graphics card, maybe you'd like this graphics card. And I'm like, no, I can't do that now.
It is very helpful if you're actively shopping, because a lot of times they'll, hey, look, hard drive is on sale for, $20 off, and you can get 2 terabytes for like $30 now. And, so that stuff is really helpful, but when it's 16 times a day, I don't need that many hard drives, Newegg. Calm down.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm excited for next week now. Yeah. It gives me something to look forward to.
You get to build your first PC. You excited?
Yeah, let's film a sick unboxing video.
I mean, you should always film those anyway. That's another tip for PC builders out there, is when you're building a PC, always either photograph or videotape yourself taking things out of the boxes. Not because you want to get sick YouTube views, but because if there's anything wrong with them, you can show those pictures and those videos as proof and say, look, it was broken out of the box. Can I get a new one? And you can RMA it. It's much, much easier if you have physical proof that was broken out of the box.
But you know what's nice, though, is that if nothing is broken out of the box, we get a sick YouTube video.
You can get those sick YouTube views, yeah.
Exactly. But now moving past the sick YouTube views, do you want to get into what we're playing?
Sure.
Brad.
Yes.
I understand that you've been playing a little game that you have some stuff to say about.
I have a few things to say about this game. So it's not Banner Saga 2. I'm sorry. I will get to it. I promise. After last show, we talked a bit about what is it called? Inside, the next game by the guys who made Limbo.
Yeah.
I was uploading the next batch of YouTube videos to the channel, and since my computer was all tied up, I started searching the PS4 for something to play, and I noticed I had Limbo, and I didn't know I had that. So
it was free. That's probably why.
Yeah, so I downloaded it. It literally took like 30 seconds to download, and then I started playing it. And I, for the life of me, am confused as to why anybody likes this game. I did not enjoy it at all.
You have no heart?
It's... Alright, let me start with my problems with it. So, I don't find the art style appealing to look at. The art style is great at setting an atmosphere, but an atmosphere is only as good as what you do with it. And they did nothing with the atmosphere, in my opinion. They just kind of made it feel sort of uneasy and disturbing, but never did anything with it.
I want to make
please.
rebuttals to all these points. I like the art style a lot. I like how it's kind of simplistic and stuff, and it kind of plays on that fear of the dark. And I like, too, that you could take sort of any frame of that game and make it a painting and hang it up in a museum, and nobody would look at it and be like, that's a screenshot from a video game.
To me, it felt repetitive. Like, if you could take any screenshot from the game, and I feel like I would have been there before. The areas didn't seem very unique to me. It was, alright, this is forest area, this is forest area with some gears, this is gear area, this is forest area with gears again. Like, there's nothing that felt unique or remarkable to me. I thought the platforming was fine. It was nothing spectacular. I thought it was kind of iffy at points. The kid seemed sort of not really wanted to do what I wanted him to do. And for a minor point here, if that kid would just learn to swim, 90% of his problems would go out the window. Little Timmy can't swim, and it made that game so much more difficult than it needed to be.
That's a problem I have with the game too, is that a lot of it isn't explained to you. It's sort of, I actually like this a lot, is that it's not explained to you. You kind of have to learn yourself. But like, I always would constantly forget, this child who looks like he's about 7 can't swim.
Yeah, Little Timmy, which is what I've nicknamed him because he looked like a Timmy to me. I hated him. I hated Little Timmy by the end of that game, and I didn't like that nothing was explained in terms of story. Not a single word was spoken throughout the entire game. I didn't even know this game had a story until I was looking up the trophy guide on, I think IGN was the one that gave it to me. And as I was searching through Google looking for a guide, because I figured the game's easy enough, I can just grab the trophies on the way through, a little blurb popped up. I think it was the Steam blurb or whatever. Alright, I should have probably said this before, but if I'm going to go into full detail about this game, puzzles and all, so if you want to experience this for yourself, or if you just don't want to hear me rant, check the episode description, and I'll leave you guys a timestamp so you can skip ahead. But from here on out, I'm going to be talking about the entire game. So, with that said, the little blurb of the game was a boy trying to find the fate of his sister. And I'm like 3/4 of the way through the game at this point, and I'm like, I have not met a sister, I don't know why I'm here, and I don't know what I'm doing, so what the hell?
She's at the beginning.
I didn't see the sister.
Well, did you start it like a weird thing where like because there's like a sort of like a little cutscene at the beginning with him and the sister, and then the sister gets lost.
No, I started the game and I was literally passed out on the ground. And then I wiggled the stick a little bit and he opened his eyes and I began.
I could be misremembering that, but I do remember seeing the sister at the beginning of the game.
I don't remember seeing her. If she was there, then that's my mistake. But even still, like I don't. I would like something to explain as to what I'm doing and like why I'm traversing. I get that I'm looking for my sister, but I only got that because I had to look it up. But I'll move on to probably my biggest problem with this game, and that I'm not entirely sure what it's trying to be. if it's trying to be a puzzle game or if it's trying to be a competitive emotional game, because in my opinion it fails at doing either one. I don't think it's a very compelling emotional game because I don't think it relays any emotion very well other than setting an atmosphere of unease. But you need to expand upon that. You need to do something with that atmosphere. Make me feel like every time the screen is pushing a little more to the right that I'm going to meet something that's going to be terrifying. But I didn't get that feeling. And in terms of if it wanted to be a puzzle game, the puzzles weren't challenging, in my opinion. They were tedious. And that's in my opinion, one of the worst things a puzzle game can do is be tedious and not challenging. And I'll give you an example. In the first half of the game, there's one of the obstacles where you're running along and there's a big crushing thing above you. And I thought, okay, there's a little raised platform underneath it that looks like a button. So I'm going to just jump over the button and I should be fine. I run up to it. I hear a pressure plate trigger right before the button. It comes down and crushes me. I'm like, okay, so that means the button is the safe haven. Okay, I'll do it again. So I ran up there. I jumped on the button on the little raised platform and I was fine. I jumped off and I kept walking. And like 20 seconds later, there's another one right in front of me. Okay, I'll do the same thing. I did the same thing and this time the button killed me. That's like, you do not introduce a mechanic to your player and then betray it within the same minute. Because it doesn't make the game any more difficult. All you did was kill me and make me play the same thing again, and it was tedious and annoying. And the only thing that did was annoy me. So I'm like, okay, now I gotta do it again. And to me, that's what every puzzle felt like. If it was an enemy-based puzzle where something could kill you, let it kill you once and then you knew what to do. If it was an environmental-based puzzle, the answer was pretty clear. Okay, there's glass here and a ladder. I have to climb the ladder and jump on the glass. Like, at no point did I feel during this game that I had solved a puzzle that somebody else wouldn't be able to solve. I'll use Portal for an example, right? While playing Portal, the game took me forever to beat because it's a very difficult game, but by the end of the game, I had solved a few puzzles that made me feel like, you know what, there's going to be somebody out there who could not solve that puzzle. They had to look up that answer to get it, and I didn't have to. I just beat the game. And at no point did I get that feeling from Limbo. So it boils down to, I don't know what this game was trying to do, but I don't think it did it well.
I think I understand all your points. Maybe it's just something where like the game worked for me. Maybe in the time that I was playing it, it worked for me in a way. I mean, who knows if I went back and played it? Like, I could go back and play it now and hate it and find all the same problems you did. But when I played it, I enjoyed it a lot. I found the atmosphere to be creepy. But I think it's mainly because it plays back on my memories of being a kid walking through the woods and just, whatever random things you'd come across while you were out there. I don't know if you ever did any stuff like that when you were a kid, like if you went out in the woods or anything or walked around.
Yeah, I mean, I've took my fair share of saunters through the forest, but I don't really feel like this game played on that for me. I feel like it was more of, I don't know, I don't think it really involved itself with any of those sort of emotions.
It also, too, kind of hit me in a way where it kind of played on another fear that I have of spiders. Because I don't like spiders.
I hate spiders, but the only thing this game did was show me that spiders are gigantic pansies. So if anything, this game has helped me with my fear of spiders.
And to talk about the puzzle design, I think the puzzle design works in like it doesn't want you to get too comfortable in the game, and I kind of like that. Where, like you said about the pressure plate one, right? It teaches you a pattern and then breaks that the next time. And I kind of like when games do that, where it's like, oh, don't get too comfortable in what you're doing. Because, like, any person playing that game, if they find out the one trick of it, which is just jump on the button, they can just zombie through the rest of that puzzle. You know what I mean? But I kind of like how it would change it up and make it different. And, excuse me, I'm going to cough and rebuttal that.
It's some of the puzzles I thought were well designed. I'll give it credit. There are puzzles that I thought were pretty intuitive. For example, one of the puzzles later on in the game involved 2 boxes and a gravity reversal thing, like a gravity switch. And that one took me a good couple minutes to figure out. I thought that was a pretty well designed puzzle, but that was one of the very few. And by contrast, some of the other puzzles, in my opinion, were terrible. Like, there was one where there's 2 gigantic metal blocks, and you had an anti-gravity switch and a magnet. And the idea was what you had to do was you had to hit the anti-gravity switch, or you had to hit the magnet first, then hit the anti-gravity switch, and right before the left block hit the magnetized ceiling that you just turned on, you let the gravity switch go, because their block on the right hits the ceiling first. So the idea is you can jump up and then climb on the second block, and it opens the path for you. And I'm not even joking with you, 20 minutes on this puzzle, and I thought I was doing something wrong, because I was doing exactly what the answer was, but it wasn't working. So I'm like, okay, maybe I screwed up. Maybe I was supposed to take a box with me from the previous puzzle or whatever, and I just didn't do it. Maybe I soft locked the game. So I looked it up. And no, it was exactly what I was supposed to be doing, but the timing is so annoyingly precise that it was unnecessarily difficult, and that it didn't add to the challenge of the game, it just made it more tedious. So there are puzzles in that game that were well designed, like the box and anti-gravity puzzle with the ladders. That one was a good puzzle. I think that was like chapter 15, 16 or something. But towards the end of the game, like chapter 20, with that anti-gravity magnet field thing, that was a terrible one. And I think the terrible ones outweigh the good ones by a very large margin.
I completely get like your feelings on this game. Like I don't have a problem with what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, you don't like this game? Well, screw you or whatever. But like, I don't know. Like I just enjoyed this game. So I think for me, like, a lot of those puzzles worked and a lot of that stuff worked for me. But like, I can totally see how somebody could come along and be like, this game is just not for me. You know what I mean? So I get your disapproval of it, but I can't say that I agree with it. Yeah,
and that's fine. If you're listening to this and you played Limbo and you enjoyed it, please email me. Email the show, and I want to have a discussion with you. I want to talk about somebody who like loves this game, because I want to peek into your head for a minute and think the way that you think, because it confuses me.
Right.
But that was the majority of what I played. Oh, and I finished Zone 4 of Crypt of the Necrodancer, so for all, basic intents and purposes, I had completed that game. I mean, it's a roguelike, so there are 6 other characters that I can play the game with, much of Binding of Isaac. You can never really complete those kind of games, but for my satisfaction, I've completed the game. And now I will look up the soundtrack and never touch it again.
Exactly.
But what about you, Jacob? What have you been playing?
So my Xbox finally downloaded Far Cry 4.
Oh, nice. A week ahead of schedule.
Guess how long it took, though?
Probably 36 hours.
A little bit over 24.
Oh, look at that.
Can we talk about how ridiculous that is for a second?
That is pretty ridiculous. And I don't know if it's an issue with just your Xbox or what, because I've never had that issue with mine. And I mean, you have just the standard Xbox One, right?
I have, yes, the standard 500 gigabyte. Like, it was the first model that came out with the Kinect.
Yeah, it was the day one.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just those were slower than the following models or something. I don't know, because I have the Advanced Warfare one and I've never had that issue.
Also, that's a bigger hard drive, so that could be a thing of like the hard drive is a better one than the 500 gigs that they put in.
I can't imagine the read and write speeds are all that much different just because it's a terabyte. And
I know.
Maybe.
I think I'm just saying, like, maybe they use more premium hard drives with that one than they did with, say, just their generic 500 gigabyte models. But I digress, because like I've never had it take that long for a game before. Like, I thought that was honestly ridiculous.
How big is the game?
I want to say it's only like 20 something gigabytes.
Small by today's standards.
Yeah. And in contrast, right, only 15 gigabytes, I downloaded Watch Dogs after, and that downloaded pretty fast. Like, it started at like 11:30 or whatever when Far Cry ended, and it was done by the morning after. So, or it might have finished in the middle of the night or whatever, but I had gone to sleep by that point, so I didn't notice it.
Yeah. Maybe it just really doesn't like Far Cry.
Yeah, who knows, right? Who really knows? But so I'm not going to talk about Watch Dogs mainly because I want to beat that game and then talk about it in more detail with because we have that weird special episode we're doing next week.
Yeah. Oh, a little sneak peek for you viewers.
Yeah.
Next week's going to be kind of funny.
Because Brad's going on vacation.
Yeah.
So, right, is it next week or the week after?
Next week, I think. Thursday, maybe. Don't quote me on that.
Should probably find out, because if that doesn't happen, then I might just talk about it on a different episode if I have time.
I will definitely find that out eventually.
Yeah. Eventually. He'll find it out right when he gets to New Hampshire.
Yeah, like, I left about 12 hours ago, Jacob, so you can talk about it later.
Yeah. But so talking about Far Cry again, Far Cry I think is the kind of game that I wanted after doing that Saints Row thing that I did last week, where I talked about how I went around just collecting everything. Like, Far Cry is like the perfect game for that.
It is very collect heavy.
Yes, it's like you're collecting things, you're taking down propaganda posters, you're taking back outposts, you're finding the radio towers and stuff like that, and doing, story missions, obviously. But I've been kind of ignoring the story missions in a weird way, and just kind of clearing off the area of the map that I can right now, and then once I've done everything on that side of the map, I think I'm just going to move on with the story and then unlock the rest of it. Because the way it is now, it's separated into two different sections, the south and the north. And the north is over a bridge, and if you go over that bridge, like, there's just too many guys there to try to kill you.
Yeah.
So, some things, though, about this game that I like/don't like, just comparing them to, say, Far Cry 3. On Far Cry 3, you could kill an animal any way you wanted to and still get their pelts.
Mm-hmm.
And the pelts are used usually to craft newer things, like a better wallet or a bigger ammo bag or better gun holsters. And so in this game, if you can get a clean kill with like a bow and arrow or just like a throwing knife or a regular knife, you get double the skins, which incentivizes you to not just shoot up a whole crowd of animals.
That rewards you for playing more carefully.
Yeah, which I like in a way. But there are some animals that you literally just can't do that with. Like, for example, and this is a big example here, both literally and metaphorically, there are rhinos that you need to get skins from to craft, I think, like a wallet or something like that. And rhinos literally get killed like in, I would guess, 45 arrows or something like that.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's something ridiculous, right? Because I shot like 10 arrows at a rhino and it didn't die. So then I started to use a gun, and then that just pissed off the rhino and made him run at me and try to attack me, to the point where my only like sanctuary was to run into a truck, to which point the rhino started flipping over that truck while I was inside of it. It's pretty crazy, that game. He
wanted you.
Yeah, he wanted me dead, much like I wanted him dead. So eventually, I did the stupidest way possible, where I started to ride an elephant and just started bashing into the rhinos with it. And that killed them in a quicker fashion, but only got me one skin, and I needed 4, so I had to kill 4 rhinos this way.
So what would you think about maybe bumping the incentive? So for the easier animals, maybe you only get, 2 skins instead of 1, but for something like a rhino, you'd get something more, like maybe, say, 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think that would be a better incentivizer that way.
Yeah.
To get me to actually want to do that, but the problem is that like it clearly doesn't do that, because it's probably just set up on a system of, good kills gets 2 skins, bad kills gets 1.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get too damaged to where you can't even get a skin off something. So it just that annoyed me mainly because like you have the system that incentivizes me to play it with like more careful weapons, but when I try to use those more careful weapons on this bigger animal, it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to have, with a system like that, you have to have enemies that complement it. If you have an enemy that can't be killed stealthily, but you reward players for playing stealthily, you sort of, you leave them between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, you break the system that way.
Yeah.
But
it just started downpouring out of nowhere. Can we talk about that for a minute? Holy Jesus.
Yeah, I know. It looked bad outside, and I figured it was going to rain today, but it just started downpouring, and I hope it stops by, like, 4:40.
I really hope it does stop, like, just after the recording. That way, Lawnmower Guy is nowhere to be found.
That would be great, actually.
Yeah, so.
Just get rid of Lawnmower Guy. But yeah, so I enjoyed this game a lot. I think it's fun. The upgrades are pretty good in it. Like, I think, like, it's one of those games that, like, when you upgrade yourself, you definitely feel more powerful because you can do better stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really good in a game like this, because I think a lot of games have sort of lost that, where their upgrades are only like menial, where it's like, oh, it makes you run 10% faster, or you can jump 5% higher. You know what I mean? Like, this is stuff where it's like, you can do a takedown and then chain that into a throwing knife kill, and then, or you could maybe do a takedown and then take that guy's gun and shoot the other guy over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're really progressing.
Yeah, and which really helps out a lot. And I think the Far Cry games are kind of like a perfect open world, and I'd like to see like maybe something different from them that isn't a caveman game.
Yeah, that isn't Far Cry Primal.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wonder what like maybe like a Far Cry in like say where the new Ghost Recon is located is like, because like that's you know, it's like it's got the jungle and it's got the towns and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I'd like to see maybe like a bigger Far Cry that actually incorporates more of like a town sort of thing, because like there are like little villages in this game and in 3, but that doesn't you know, that's not like, it doesn't make up a compelling open world in a way, other than the fact that like there's a lot of stuff to unlock on these maps.
yeah, they have plenty of you know, different atmospheres and different you know, biomes that they could play with. They could do one in like an Amazon rainforest. They could do one in, you know, the plains of Africa. So they have plenty of things they can play with if they want to.
They did one in the plains of Africa. Far Cry 2 was in Africa.
Oh, that's right.
But what is it? They do change it up a little bit in this game, because there's like a mountainous region that has like it's snowy compared to the rest of it, which is just like a jungle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're already kind of working on that, and I'd like to see where they take it in the future.
Yeah.
But we've been running really long in this what we're playing.
Told you.
Yeah, we're almost like a half hour. So let's get into the news. So, Brad, we made a referendum to the news, and you're just going to be reading the news all the time now. And read me that news.
Yes, it was decided that I shall be the news reader, for better or worse. And I'm going to start this off with a rather simple story, but a one we all know and love, and that's Fallout 4.
Yes.
And so, Fallout 4's Vault Tech Workshop DLC is coming, not next week, but the week after, July 26th. And this is going to be one of the smaller ones, much like the previous workshop ones have been, but this time you get to build a little underground vault and sort of do Fallout Shelter, but to your actual survivors, which is...
Yeah, this game is just essentially Fallout. This DLC is just essentially Fallout Shelter.
Yeah, so Vault Tech Workshop's going to cost you about $5 or $4.99 British pounds, or, you know, all the other random, other fake money translations. And it's going to be a part of the DLC season pass. So if you have that, you already got it. So don't sweat don't sweat the small stuff. But this is going to be a pretty cool one. You can sort of experiment on your guys. They show a picture of them. Oh my god, it's like pouring out there. I hope that's not coming up on the audio.
I can hear it a little bit in the background, but I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, well, we just got apparently hit by a typhoon. Jesus Christ.
Seriously.
But it's like I said, it's going to be a small one. They have a little picture here of the Vault guys on like toy treadmills. It's kind of weird, like toy-like bikes. You know, like
exercise bikes.
Yeah, like the exercise bikes at the gym, with a really creepy like Pip girl in the background with a thumbs up. It's kind of disturbing, actually. I'm gonna close the article because that Pip girl is kind of weirding me out a little bit. But moving on to slightly bigger news, this time about Microsoft, and they're ditching Gamescom 2016 for a fan event instead, and it's
pulling a PlayStation.
Yeah, they're pulling a PlayStation. PlayStation did it first, guys. Come on. So Microsoft would host an event specifically for Xbox fans during Gamescom 2016 in lieu of its traditional media briefing. The company announced that Xbox Fan Fest will take, a creative name by the way, will take the place of its press conference, allowing attendees to go hands-on with some of the Xbox One's biggest upcoming games. The event will run from August 18th to the 24th as a part of the annual gaming convention held in Cologne, Germany. Visitors will have the chance to play a lineup that includes Gears of War 4, Halo Wars 2, ReCore, and Sea of Thieves, all of which were among the companies showing at E3 2016 this last month. So, I am actually okay with this, simply because Gamescom, while a fantastic thing for the gaming industry, is too big for its own good. And what I mean by that is, there are so many people who go to Gamescom, because it's the E3 for the common man, right? Anybody can go to Gamescom.
Yeah.
That it's really tough to get to try the things you want to try, because these sort of demos are always at Gamescom, right? Every company that goes has these demos, but there are so many people that you very rarely get a chance to do it. And with Microsoft sort of branching out and doing their own things, they sort of remove themselves from the clutter and say, listen, if you're only interested in Xbox games, you can come over to our station one of the 4 days or 6 days that we're doing this, and you can try out the demos, and then go to Gamescom and try all the other ones. So I think this is fine.
This breaks my heart, though, because it gets rid of press conferences, and that's my favorite part of any of these.
Yeah, I do feel like that we are in the minority. Other than the actual people in the press, I don't think people really like press conferences. They rather just have people tell them what's coming.
See, that's the thing is, like, I think a lot of nuance is lost in that kind of thing. Like I don't get as excited about a Nintendo Direct as I do about if it's a big press conference.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what that is. I think it's mainly just because, like, it takes some of the fun out of it. Because, like, when it's a live press conference, a lot of stuff can go wrong. And when stuff goes wrong is when it's the best.
Yeah, I mean, you get some goofs at E3 every year because it's all, live. You don't get that with Nintendo Direct because it's scripted, right? And they pre-record it. But you
don't get that nervous dude showing off Minecraft on the stage.
Exactly. And on top of that, you also lose some of the passion. When somebody's on stage talking about a game they've worked on for God knows how many years, they get kind of into it, and that gets you excited for the game. Whereas, as opposed to somewhere like Nintendo Direct, they have, Miyamoto on there who's done 6 of these today and he just wants to go home and have some tea. Then, you don't get quite as excited. Yeah, you might be excited for the game still, but you don't feel his energy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's taking, he takes 45 takes or whatever, and once they get the good one, they're like, whatever.
Yeah, they'll use that. And nothing against Miyamoto. He's a great presenter, but it's a different beast, so. So, again, that is August 24th through the 18th through the 24th at Cologne, Germany. So, head on over there if you are a Microsoft aficionado. Or don't, because, Germany's far away. At least for us.
I love how you just went back against yourself in that one.
Yeah, it's fine. Speaking of what's not fine, though, it's Valve. And they're supposedly cracking down on skin gambling sites. And that's in light because they've recently been accused of being a part of these skin gambling sites, to which, of course, they've denied all accountability, and their lawyers are far too good to ever let them get caught at such a atrocious behavior. But they have announced that they are going to start cracking down on this because they have found out that sites are using their API to run these gambling sites. Well, it wouldn't be a Complete with DLC episode without technical difficulties, so I had to cut out this story because there were some audio issues, and it was turning into just an incomprehensible mess when I was trying to edit it. So I'll do a quick rundown for that story for you guys here in post. Essentially, like I said, Valve had noticed that people were using their API to run these gambling sites, and they said they're going to try to crack down on this sort of behavior to try to put a stop to it. It was my personal opinion that I don't really think Valve's going to do anything because they've known for a long time that they were using their API was being used this way, and the only reason they're saying anything now is because they got caught, or they were accused of being involved. Not that they got caught doing anything, but I don't really think Valve's going to do anything. But I will give you guys a link to the article so you can have a full readout of it for yourself. It's an interesting subject. I fully recommend doing some research into it. There are a lot of YouTube videos on the subject, and the article is a decent read as well. So, sorry guys. And now back to your regularly scheduled Complete with DLC episode. But this would not be a Complete with DLC episode if we did not talk about Pokemon Go, because it seems to be a regular now. So we have quite a few Pokemon Go things here, and one of them is a quick one that actually my dad had showed me before I noticed it was in the news doc, and it's an absurdly detailed map of Boston, detailing where all the Pokemon can be found, and it's actually really, really awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I
added this to the news doc for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. So I'll give you guys a link to it in the episode description, and I would show it on video, but unfortunately it's not cooperating with me, so I won't be doing that. But suffice it to say, it is it is much more detailed than I thought it was going to be. Literally it's the whole map, and it shows, like, in the far corners there's there's a bunch of Squirtles at Harvard for some reason, and near every dock there's like a Dratini, and somebody put a lot of effort into making this. I got
a Meowth on Bennett Street.
Yeah, those are reasonably hard to find. I have not found any Meowths yet, but that was a quick one. Speaking of all, the other two are also quick ones, and one of them is this has picked up so much steam that even celebrities are playing it at this point. One of them I saw on Reddit was Waka Flocka, had a guy whose name you have not heard in quite a few years, might I say. Had shown up at one of the Pokestops, and just rambling off some names here, like Josh Groban, Chris Hardwick, the Jonas Brothers of all people, Wiz Khalifa, after he was done playing Battlefield with Bernie Burns, Monica Lewinsky of all people, John Mayer.
I think it's so funny that Monica Lewinsky is considered a celebrity.
Well, she was she was the whole Bill Clinton thing. Like Vince McMahon is part of it. Like, and I gotta say his tweet was kind of the funniest. His tweet is he's showing a picture of Ghastly saying, "I don't care who you are, get out of my weight room." That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting, and like there's 4.7 million tweets about the game in the week from July 4th to July 11th. That's a ton of traffic for Twitter.
John Mayer bought 14,500 Poke coins.
And dude, he's just rolling in dough. I love John Mayer. His music's pretty good. It's
I do like John Mayer. I think that a lot of his fans are kind of douchey, but I feel
like that's just music fans in general. I don't know what it is, but the music industry tends to attract just the most entitled fans.
Yeah.
But I will admit that liking John Mayer is probably the most white guy thing you can do, so...
We're just continuing our descent into being the whitest men on the internet.
Literally, I am neon at this point. But sort of probably the most important part of this was one I added pretty recently, and it's that you can now create or change a Pokestop in Pokemon Go, in case you need to remove one that is, say, on your personal property or is in an area you probably shouldn't be playing Pokemon Go. For instance, Auschwitz was a Pokestop.
I remember when I heard about this and I was like, oh my god. Like, apparently Auschwitz is one.
And
the
you know what it's
9/11
full
memorial.
of?
What is it?
It's full of coughings.
Oh
and
my god.
For those of you who don't know, coughing is the poison gas Pokemon.
Oh my god.
So you can kind of see why people were upset that Auschwitz was full of the poison gas Pokemon.
But apparently, yeah, Auschwitz is one. The 9/11 memorial is one.
Yeah, so they've put up a sort of a submission forum that you can say, listen, there's no Pokestops near me, I'd like to add one, and they can do that. Or, hey, they probably shouldn't be, kids are going to shock themselves trying to climb this electric fence because there's a Pokestop behind it, you might want to remove it or move it, So I'll give you guys a link to that as well. It's going to be a really long episode description this week, but I think it's really cool that this is sort of coming back from when they had it in Ingress, because I think I mentioned this on a previous show. They had used, or maybe I think I might have said it off air to you, Jacob, but the way that Niantic did this with Ingress was they used Google interns to do it. So anytime someone set in a request, and there were a ton of requests, they just took a bunch of interns from Google and said, here, sort through these and make them into stops for Ingress. And then they just carried them over for Pokemon Go. But since Niantic is separated from Google, they no longer have access to those interns, so this wasn't a feasible option for them anymore. But I guess they have now since come in to the resources to be able to do this. I imagine Nintendo has something to do with this. Your market value goes up $9 billion, and suddenly you're going to start putting some manpower towards it.
Also, too, I mean, they're the number one top-grossing app on the on like the iTunes store, and I think on Android too. And apparently, in order to become like the top-grossing app, you have to make something over like $2 million a day. So I think that if you're getting that kind of money, I think you can hire some interns.
Yeah. So, needless, and besides, interns are a dime a dozen anyway.
Exactly.
And in my view of the world, anytime something goes wrong at a gaming company or any company, it's usually an intern. But this was a pretty interesting development for the game, and I'm very happy to see that they're already making improvements so soon after its release. That is the end of the news.
That is the end of the news, and then that means that right before we can go, because this is a little bit of a long one this week, we have to play Well, That Sucked. Welcome to Well, That Sucked. The way the game works is simple. I give Brad 3 randomly selected games, and he has to tell me which of the 3 is the lowest rated according to Metacritic. I can give Brad no help besides a brief description of what that game is if Brad so asks for it. Brad, are you ready?
I'm so glad you can't see my video, because I'm just, spazzing out, making all sorts of weird signs to correlate with what you're saying.
I did that, too, when we would live stream.
It's just me on these video recordings, so they're getting really familiar with my face, but your face is just a giant sad face.
I need to figure. I'm thinking about moving back downstairs. The problem is that my room is the coolest because I have an AC going most of the time, which I just turn off when we're recording. So it's nice to sit in here for a little while before it starts to get warm in here again. So
yeah, my room is just a giant hot box because I turn off my fan and shut the window for recording. So I am dying.
So your room is just a giant 420. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah. So because the problem is the way I have to sit is right in front of a window. So it's super bright and you can't even see me, so I look like the smoking man from the X-Files.
Yeah, I'm kind of lucky because I'm right in front of a window too, but it's like the sun is like angled, so like it's like sort of a glow behind me, but it doesn't really hit me, so I'm fine.
Yeah, that's my problem is that like the glow is directly to the camera, so that's the problem there.
Yeah, but you're a star on 60 Minutes every time we record video.
Exactly. But so we're gonna start with round one.
Round one.
Okay. All right, then. And this is kind of a grab bag round. So, in honor of the new movie coming out, Ghostbusters, the video game from 2009,
Ooh.
the third-person shooter one.
With the glitched achievement.
Did I have a glitch achievement?
Yeah, one of them was glitched. I don't know if they fixed it, though.
They probably didn't. Crash Bash, if you know what that is.
I've never heard of it.
It is the Crash Bandicoot Mario Party knockoff.
Ah. I'm sure that was a great game.
And the game that's destroying America, Pokemon Go.
Oh, God. This is a tough round because Pokemon Go has become such a social phenomenon that I feel like it would get a good rating anyway. But if I'm being honest, if you're not a collector, it's not a great game because the battling system leaves something to be desired, especially with the gym bug. So I feel like that probably has an inflated rate or inflated rating, but a Crash Bandicoot knockoff with Mario Kart just doesn't sound like
not Mario Kart, Mario Party.
Mario Party doesn't sound like it would be good in any capacity. And Ghostbusters, I can't, for the sake of Ghostbusters, say that's the worst one. I think Bill Murray would forsake me. I think I gotta go with the Crash Bandicoot one, because I can't imagine that Pokemon Go did poorly just because of how big it got. I don't think the critics it would be career suicide to give that game a bad rating.
So you're locking in Crash Bash?
Yeah.
Brad, you're wrong.
Ah.
It is Pokemon Go.
Really? That's surprising.
See, here's the thing, right? I think that game's too big to fail anyway, so even if it got, like, the worst reviews around,
it could get a 6 and they don't care.
Yeah. Can you tell me what Pokemon Go was rated?
Not a 6. Probably a 76.
Ooh. You're 10 above it. It's a 66.
Oh. Well, I'm sad.
Second highest rated was Crash Bash with a 68, and the highest rated was Ghostbusters, the video game, with a 79.
As it should be.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a little decent third-person shooter.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take what I can get.
Plus, it has Bill Murray in it.
And who doesn't need more Bill Murray?
So everybody needs more Bill Murray. Round 2.
I need a voice. Round 2.
Okay. These are just
I
new
should
releases.
prep these beforehand, because I'm always like caught off guard for what voice I need to do.
Yeah, you are. So these are just new releases. Carmageddon Max Damage.
That sounds awful. That's a bottom of the bin Walmart title right there.
Song of the Deep.
Oh, God.
And Valentino Rossi, the game.
So you just started like dumpster diving behind a Walmart to find these titles, right? Is that how you got these?
Do you need a description of any of these games?
Of all of them, because they all sound terrible and I don't know about any of them.
Carmageddon Max Damage is the 2016 reimagining of the original Carmageddon.
They made 2 of these?
They made many Carmageddon games, actually. This was like a really like controversial title because you can run over civilians and stuff, and it's like a racing game or something like that.
Oh, is this the one from the 80s? I think I had to write a paper on this for class about controversial game titles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, I know what it is then.
But this is the new one, so take that into mind. Song of the Deep is a Metroidvania game made by Insomniac Games. This is that one that's being published by GameStop.
Oh, right. Okay.
And Valentino Rossi, the game, is a game about Valentino Rossi, who is a big car racer guy. and so it's a racing game, and I guess it's about his career.
Okay, so my gut instinct is to go with Carmageddon, just because, one, the game was controversial, not great when it came out. So making a remake of it, now it's no longer controversial, and it's still not going to be great. So that feels like the bottom tier to me. But Song of the Deep, now that I actually remember what it is, I probably won't be as bad as I think it will be. It will probably be better, so that one's going to be fine.
Made by Insomniac.
Yeah, it's Insomniac, so they can't screw up that bad. And the other one, I would say, was probably going to be the lowest, but I have apparently every time I think one of these themed sports games, like Bradman's Cricket, was going to be the lowest, it ends up being a top-rated title, so I just can't trust that anymore.
Or like Casey Powell Lacrosse.
Yeah, like, that to me seems like a terrible game, but it's getting 80s, so, like, what the hell? But, alright, I think I gotta go with Carmageddon, just because I don't see how that's a good game. It wasn't good when it came out. I don't imagine it's a good game now.
You're locking in Carmageddon?
Yep, locking it in.
You're correct.
Oh, there we go.
Can you tell me what Carmageddon was rated?
Like a 32.
58.
Okay, so it's better than I gave it credit for.
Yeah. Song of the Deep was the second highest rated with a 69. And Valentino Rossi the game is a 75.
See? Told you. Can't trust it.
Exactly. Round 3.
Round 3.
Oh, you went back to the transsexual robot.
I mean, go with the classics, right?
So a couple episodes ago, we did this with Minecraft, and I wanted to do it.
Transsexual robot.
Yeah.
That's not what I attributed that voice to, but okay.
So we did this a couple episodes ago with Minecraft, and I wanted to try it again with a different game. So this time I'm doing it with Far Cry 4.
Oh.
And this is 3 different versions of Far Cry 4. Those different versions being the PC version, the PS4 version, and the Xbox One version. So can you tell me which of those 3 versions is the lowest rated?
You see, this kind of question is harder because I need to have like actual knowledge of the game. I can't just do like random made up facts about the game that I could use to organize them.
You never played Far Cry 4?
No, I've never played I never played any of the Far Cry's, except I think I might have dabbled in 3 a little bit, but I don't remember much of it, so I might as well.
But you're familiar with what the franchise is,
yeah,
right?
I know what the franchise is, but it's one of the ones I've never put a lot of time into.
You should try it out. I like them a lot. I think that maybe you'd enjoy it.
Probably, but I have enough open world games on my plate right now. I like to feel like I've beaten a game within, a 3-month time span.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so general consensus is PC version's going to be the worst because PC versions are always bugged when they come out. But maybe that opinion is skewed because of just the recent catastrophes we've had. But
This game wasn't put up by Warner Brothers.
yeah, this game wasn't put up by Warner Brothers, that's true. Okay, so Xbox One tends to have more issues at launch. PC has more issues with ports, and PlayStation 4 is generally the most stable of them. Who developed Far Cry again? It was
It's Ubisoft Montreal, I think.
Ubisoft Montreal. Okay, and when was PC released later than console, or was it same time?
Nope, simultaneous.
Okay, so there's not even going to be any real port issues because usually the port issues only happen when it's delayed.
Yeah.
Damn it, there goes my logic. Okay, so how am I going to judge this? Okay, so PlayStation 4 is lighter than the Xbox One, so I'm going to assume that means it has the lowest rating because that means the weighting would weigh it down. PC is going to be the highest because it weighs the most, so it's going to be better. So that's going to be my answer. I'm going with PC.
You going with PC?
Yes.
You're right, Brad.
See? My logic always works. PC's the heaviest, so it wins.
Can you tell me what the PC version of Far Cry 4 was rated?
93.
An 80.
Oh, okay. Well, it's much worse than I gave it credit for. Guess it wasn't that heavy.
The second highest rate was Far Cry 4 on the Xbox One with an 82, and the highest rate was Far Cry 4 on the PS4 with an 85.
I can't believe that worked.
Yeah, and I can't believe that did either. Like, you were going with this nonsense. I thought your implication was that the lightest was going to be the worst, and I was like, really, he's going to pick PS4? But then no, you were like, PC's the heaviest. I'm going with PC.
Yeah, it's better rated, so that they have more rating, so it weighed it down.
I see what you did there. Brad, you know what you've won?
What have I won?
the right to read me the spiel.
Oh, my favorite thing. Alright, so if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at completewithdlc@gmail.com. See, the benefit of recording this video is I can look into the camera while I say this, and it's sort of creepy. If you don't want to email us, then that's fine. Then you can just head on over to Twitter to get all the happenings with the show, whether we be uploading a new YouTube video, whether a new show is being live streamed or updated, or whatever the case may be. Head over to Twitter. Jacob will keep you guys informed. You know the deal. If you don't want to follow us on Twitter, that's fine. Then just head on over to Twitter, wherever you get your podcast, whether that be iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Google Play. And once you're there, please use whatever review software they give you, whether that be thumbs, arrows, stars, or smiley faces. We like to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, and you guys are the only ones that can point us in the right direction. We're two blind idiots fumbling around a room. But if you don't want to review, that's fine. A listen is all we ask for, and we appreciate every listen we get. Your ears are all that we ask for. If you want to watch the show live, head on over to twitch.tv/completewithdlc. The VODs are uploaded to YouTube. Head over to the description of the episode to check out the YouTube link, because it's way too long for me to recite here. It's a bunch of randomly gobbledygook, so that's going to be the only place you're going to be able to find it. Jacob, if they want to get in touch with you specifically, where can they do that?
They can get in touch with me on any sort of social media at itsjaygriff, ITSJAYGRIFF. I'm probably most active on Twitter, so if you really want to get in touch with me, it's probably best to do so through Twitter. Brad, if they want to get in touch with you, where can they go?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can head over to Twitter as well. I'm Kalgny on Twitter, KALGNE. I'm not terribly active, but I do frequent the Twitter, so I'll notice you if you want to, if you get in touch with me there. But if you want to have an actual conversation, maybe we'll play some games with me at the same time, head on over to Battle.net. That's Blizzard's little interactive hub for all their games, and type in the friend code BRAD, #1261. That's going to be my friend code, and once I accept it, let me know where you heard it, whether it be a podcast episode, a YouTube video, or whatever the case may be, just so I can keep a note of it and I don't delete you when I forget who you are, because not personal, I have terrible memory. But that's, I believe that is everything.
Right? Musical recommendation. That's right.
This week I'm going to recommend the soundtrack to Crypt of the Necrodancer. Even if you don't like the game, the soundtrack is undeniably great. So if you just need some good motivation music, let's say you're playing another game that's really difficult and you're frustrated by it, play some Crypt of the Necrodancer music. You will definitely get into the groove.
I'm going to recommend the Watch Dogs soundtrack, because I've been playing that game also recently, but I didn't want to talk about it in this one because I wanted to save it for the big show, not the wrestler.
The world's largest athlete?
Exactly, the world's largest athlete. But I think it's pretty good. It's that kind of techno thriller thing that you get from like a lot of hacker movies or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of more of that kind of music, but it's actually pretty good. So I'd suggest listening to that if you're into kind of techno music like that.
Yeah. So Crypt of the Necrodancer, Watch Dogs. Some good stuff this week.
Check it out.
Yes.
But you know what? They can't check out anymore this episode of Complete with DLC because it's all over.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll cue in. Oh, here.
This has been Complete with DLC. I'm Jacob Griffin.
I'm Brad Knight.
And thank you for listening.